Autoimmunity is, I think, something that everyone should have an understanding of,
Right.
because autoimmunity is not exclusively a disease that certain people go through. Most of it has to do with the modern lifestyles. The amount of environmental toxins that we have in our day-to-day life is very high. It's just a modern curse that we have, for a lack of a better term.
What would be the 3 things, simple, basic things, inexpensive things that they can do to prevent this issue? Hi everyone, welcome to Take 20. Take 20 is our effort to bring you high quality, wellness related content that you can relate to and apply to your everyday life. Now, this content is based on years of research and experience and is meant to help you navigate your life better. I've known Alkesh for a while now. We've been working closely for the last 2 years, and the things that I have learned in this span of time, I wish I had known before. I also believe that this information should be available to all. Everyone should have an access to and an understanding of this information to help us better control our lives. So join me as we learn, explore, and make our lives better.
Thank you so much for this introduction, Sam. So let me just start by introducing myself. I'm Alkesh. I'm a wellness professional based out of Toronto. Just by the virtue of the clients that I have, they are famous and they are celebrated for the kind of work that they do. My body of work involves coaching people in the realm of nutrition, fitness, and health, and also counseling people in the field of mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. As a good fortune, I've had the opportunity to work with you for over the past 2 years and be a part of this journey. And I'm really looking forward to sharing the insights that we learned over the past 2 years and can't wait to get started with this.
Okay, so I think the elephant in the room for us, the biggest topic that we have been closely working on is autoimmunity.
Yeah.
So let's dive straight in, and I would like to ask you, what is autoimmunity?
Yeah, autoimmunity is, I think, something that everyone should have an understanding of, because autoimmunity is not exclusively a disease that certain people go through. Many people go in and out of autoimmunity, but they do not realize it. So autoimmunity, just to explain it in simple terms, would be our immune function is supposed to protect us from bacterial, viral pathogens. But many a times what happens is that our immune system ends up attacking our own healthy tissues that we have. And in my recent experience as a coach, most of the clients that approach me have been going through the same. And these are very common disorders like rheumatoid arthritis, irritable bowel disease, lupus, multiple sclerosis that are very commonly detected in the blood work that we get. There are specific antibodies that can be detected in the blood work, and if they're elevated, then it would qualify you having an autoimmune condition, and it's on the rise.
So yeah, I was actually quite surprised to know that the number of autoimmune cases have exponentially increased, and the number of cases are actually cancer patients, heart disease, diabetes put together is now the cases of autoimmune conditions.
Yeah.
And why do you think that there is such a steep rise in this disease? No, it's not really a disease, it's a condition.
Yeah. Most of it has to do with the modern lifestyles that we are living now. But in order to understand that, we need to understand why autoimmunity happens at the first place. So autoimmunity happens when the balance between the toxic input and the detox output within the body is off. And the kind of lifestyle that we lead now, the amount of environmental toxins that we have in our day-to-day life is very high. It's in the cookware that we use, it's in the cosmetics that we use, it's in the kind of clothes that we wear, it's in the kind of air that we breathe. So it's just a modern curse that we have, for a lack of a better term, that the amount of environmental toxins that we have has been higher than ever. So let's just say if we were living in a time where it's 50 years ago from now, the environmental toxin around us would be much less. And most of the people who go through an autoimmune condition are at a stage where the input is quite high of the toxin, and they are not able to detox that at the same rate.
So when you say the toxic load, right? Now, let's be honest, we can't control that.
Yeah.
It just is quite impossible. As you said, it's a modern curse. We cannot avoid it.
Yeah.
So, but what does one do? I know that I have been sitting and checking ingredients, putting air purifiers, doing just incredibly drastic measures to counter my condition.
Yeah.
But that's not practical for everyone.
Yeah.
So we really need to, what would you say are the smallest and the easiest things that one could do to prevent such a problem?
Yeah, I think managing autoimmunity is basically the art of doing less. And yeah,
which none of us are aware of, and which we are completely against it. Like the
yeah,
youth and the young, we're about the hustle culture.
yeah,
So what you're saying is exactly opposite of that.
yeah, yeah. And when I talk about the toxin input versus the detox output, so we have to reduce the toxin load that we have, and we have facilitate the body's detoxification pathways that there are. And when I use the word detox, our mind immediately goes towards green juices and all the
Right.
12-week thing, 12-day challenges. It's none of that. Our bodies have inbuilt detox pathways, like sweating is one of those. We have the lymphatic system within us, our organs like liver and kidney do it on a regular basis. And if we focus on doing more things, that will facilitate that, and doing less things, which will get us less toxin load. I think that is the key to managing autoimmunity at this point in time. And also, that's also the reason why many people don't get a long-term remission by going the medicinal route.
Right.
Because you can take medicines to cut the inflammation down. But if you're not fixing the things that is causing this imbalance of toxin input versus detox output, then it's always going to be an ongoing process and you're going to take medicines in order to get the inflammation down.
So the reason I wanted to do this with you, this podcast, was because I really after the experience, that the harrowing experience that I've been through, and well, an autoimmune condition is lifelong. So with what I'm dealing with right now as well, I'd rather people be safe than sorry. So there are most people who believe that I'm healthy, I eat well, I have great genes, this can't happen to me. I am guilty of being one of those people because I worked out, I woke up early, I laughed a lot, I ate healthy, I worked out crazy.
Yeah.
So what would you tell people who think that they are above this or beyond this and this cannot possibly happen to them?
Yeah, more than thinking that this will not happen to them, if you have a biological body, then this is going to happen to you, because our body is at a continuous state of processing things. And when it processes things, that chemical process has some waste products, and the body has to detoxify those waste products. That's how the human body works. I can understand where that thought comes from, because this is not something that you realize immediately. The effects of this are not immediately realized, but this happens over a long duration of time because it requires a certain degree of build-up. And when the body reaches the threshold of that build-up, body goes into something called the threat response. And it's a aftermath of the threat response that body realizes a threat within itself. And that's the reason immune system attacks the healthy cells that we have, because it launches a system-wide attack. And it's not the fault of immune system here. Your immune system is trying to protect you from the buildup that there is. But the way in which it's doing, that is causing us more harm than good at this point in time.
So would you say an extremely stressful lifestyle, bad eating habits, and prioritizing work, career could be why these conditions are also on the rise? The extreme amount of stress?
Yeah, all the things that you mentioned right now would contribute towards that. So most of the detox of the body happens when we are asleep. And if one has a good sound sleep, most of the things from that perspective are taken care of. But nowadays, and we all know how important sleep is for us, and nowadays it's like a boon to have a good, sound, restful sleep.
People who
Because
can't sleep right now are just banging their heads. I feel
yeah,
you. I feel you.
yeah, because our mind is usually dwindling between two phases. One is fight and flight, the other one is rest and digest. And when we are asleep, the rest and digest phase kicks in, and that's when most of these processes takes place. But if we are always forward looking towards our work, our stress levels are high, body can't differentiate between an actual threat and a perceived threat. So when the body is in fight and flight mode, even if you're physically asleep, your mind will be constantly
Racing.
engaged in some thought or the other. Also, there is something quite rewarding if we are hustling towards work. It is considered to be as professional,
Yeah.
and society rewards that.
Yes.
But in the longer term, that does come back and cause all this. So it's all interrelated. This, so all the things that you talked about does contribute to this for sure.
Yes. Okay. I remember specifically the year before I had this problem, that this problem arose. It was an extremely difficult year for me. And I specifically remember the day that I think my friend slash partner slash manager Himang and we were traveling back from Mumbai, and this was in June of the year before the last. And I remember telling him that finally I feel calm. I haven't felt a little relaxed that and little calm in a very, very long time. And I finally feel like I can breathe and I can go to sleep and I can now wake up and focus on my work and be the best that I can be at work. And I woke up with this condition.
All your fans would really want to know the journey you have taken and what all the things that you have done, because I think it was a really, really brave step that you took at that point in time. And I think that is something that should be out and people should know about it for sure.
Right. Yeah, I will get into that. But before that, while we end this first episode, what would be the three things that you would ask people to do? Simple, basic things, inexpensive things that they can do to prevent this issue.
Yeah. So if I were to have three takeaways that one should be doing in order to prevent this, is number one is to reduce the toxin input that we have talked about. And that can be in multiple ways. Number one is to eat a very clean diet.
You mean
And
not processed foods when you say that? Nothing from a tin, from a packet, from a plastic bottle. Are you saying that? Like fresh food, freshly cooked at home. Is that
yeah,
what you would say?
yeah. So clean food would be the food that is minimally processed, or you have the food in its more primitive form. Then I think it's going to be a better prospect for you. Over a period of time, I have realized that a clean diet looks different for different people.
Yeah.
If a food you eat is making you feel gassy, if making you feel bloated, if it's making you have acid reflux, then the food is not right for you, because that is causing your gut to be irritated. So stay away from that kind of food. That's number one. Filter your water for sure.
This is something that is very, very important, was very, very important for me
Mm,
to drink only filtered water.
yeah,
Is that reverse osmosis?
reverse osmosis. Yeah,
To have that and carry a bottle with you, as childish as it may look,
yeah,
but it is very, very important to drink
yeah,
good water.
yeah, for sure. And we can't emphasize much on how precious reverse osmosis water can be for your health. And if you have the choice, if you re-mineralize it by using ancient salt or just Himalayan pink salt and consume it, that will be really nice.
Would you
Not
say that just once in your bottle put Himalayan pink salt, or all through the day put a pinch of Himalayan pink salt?
so. Let's just say if you have a 1 liter of water, if you just put one pinch or even less than like 1/4 teaspoon and have your water, it will be a better prospect, because reverse osmosis strips the water out of everything that it has, and that
Right.
would include minerals too. And traditionally, if you drink spring water, if you can have fresh spring water, that's nice, but we have an understanding not everyone can have that.
Yeah.
So just remineralizing your water would
By
help
adding some
it a
salts.
great deal. Yeah. Also, the kind of products that we use, the kind of deodorants that we use, the kind of cosmetics that we use, try to look for clean ingredients. And there is this huge misconception in the market that a clean product would be an expensive product.
Oh my God, I'm guilty.
Yeah.
Of thinking that. I think that we all think that if it's expensive, they must be looking after us. But I was very, very wrong.
Yeah. So that's certainly not the case. And also good things in life are not very expensive. That they might not be cheap, but they're very reasonable for sure. And apart from that, being in a good headspace, always, if you are stressed, take time to de-stress yourself. I'm not asking to leave your profession and do anything. If you have 14 hours in a day where you're awake, and if you're wired for 12 hours, at least give those 2 hours to yourself, spend time with friends, spend time
Unwind.
with family, unwind, do things that you love. That's another important thing. And stagnancy is the biggest culprit of an autoimmune condition, because if you are not moving and if you are stagnant, you kind of hamper the detox pathways that the body has. And moving and sweating kind of helps you to get rid of a lot of things. And it also does a lot of things for you mentally as well. So if you were to ask me what are the two biggest things, I can't do anything. What are the two biggest things that I should be doing is to sleep sound, sleep in a way that your brain is not wired. So if you're wanting to spend quality time with friends and family, do that before you sleep so that you sleep in a good headspace. That's number one. And number two is when you wake up or any other time in the day, move. The more you move, the more things flow through your body and the more you support the detox pathways that you have. And that will be a key to managing an autoimmune disorder for sure.
More about detox pathways in our next segment. I would like to know more in detail about the different detox pathways, and because you just completely dissed all of the fat diets and said that there is more to detox. So that's something that I would like to discuss about in our next segment.
Yeah.